Hello there, hi, and welcome to another episode of Creatives on the Couch. Now, we're going to do a little bit of a different episode this time. Normally, it's all, about people's lives within entertainment and books and authors and things like this. Now, today, we're going to introduce you to a very special, remarkable, strong lady. And I think you're going to really enjoy her story and be humbled by it as well. She's a humanitarian, and we're going to hear about her stories and her travels. Angie, it's absolutely wonderful to have you with us today. It's an honour to have you on our couch. You know, we've known each other a very, very long time, and even when I found out that you were coming on today and what you're going to talk about, I was a little bit blown away because I had no idea what you've actually been through recently. You've been to Ukraine.
I have. I didn't put a lot out of what I've been doing. Somebody once said to me, intention, not attention. And I kind of think that's quite nice because the only thing I'll put on social media is when I need some help.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of things that people don't know. But I think the stories need to be told.
Okay.
What we've seen on the news is not the true story of what's going on, because I've been there and I know. So the first time I went over, I went to Poland through a charity group, Love Bristol, and they asked me if I would do some cooking and looking after refugees in a centre with 40 people. 2 toilets, 2 showers, and one
Nice.
cooker. Yes.
Goodness me.
Yeah. Often when you'd fed everybody, there wasn't much left, and I didn't lose weight, so I don't know. But it was very humbling just to be there because these were people that have had to leave their homes because of the bombing and the missiles and whatnot, and they'd had to leave loved ones behind, fathers, husbands. And it's the children that I always look to because children are innocent in everything, in all these things. The second time I went over, I went to the same place, but I also got my sons to come over with a bouncing castle for the children, because my son does bounce castles. And also full of aid, the van was full of aid that we bought and other people had donated. I dressed up as a dinosaur, as you do.
To entertain the kids.
That's beautiful.
And we had fun, but I needed to go into Ukraine. I just needed to see for myself what was going on. So a friend called Wendy, who is, she just retired, she was a midwife. She took 6 months unpaid leave, and she went over taking aid and stuff. She's a remarkable lady. And I rang her because I knew her on social media, and I said, Wendy, could you come and pick me up, and can I come with you to Ukraine? And she said, yeah. And we went to Lviv. And the sirens were going off. Everybody seems to be walking about and doing their own thing, but they kind of got used to it in Lviv. We delivered aid, we helped people bring them out and things like that. But the third trip, which is the one I've just come back on, the 30th of September, I went over with a friend. I was going over alone, but a friend, medic, said, could he come with me, Ken? And I said, yeah. So we went over, we flew to Krakow. Then we had to stay in a hotel over there because you can't go into Ukraine at certain times because there's a curfew, 10, sometimes 11.
Okay.
So we couldn't travel. So we stayed in a hotel. Next day we caught a bus, which took about 10 hours. Stayed a couple of hours in Kiev and then got the overnight train. And lying in the bunk bed in the night train, I didn't sleep because I thought, everything's dark, all the lights are switched off, and there we are travelling. Obviously got lights on the train, and I was like, so I started writing a poem about why I'm volunteering, because people do ask me. I actually volunteer to help people in places like that, because if we don't help Ukrainian people, Putin will not only take over Ukraine, he will try and take over the world, in my opinion. Much like Hitler, if we hadn't have stopped Hitler, then he probably would have taken over a lot more, and we wouldn't be sat here today as the free people. I've got grandchildren, 2 little grandchildren, and I looked at their faces and I knew that if we don't help the children in Ukraine, our children will be affected by it as well. I wanted them to be proud of Nana and my sons.
They are proud, Angie. They are so proud.
Thank you. So that's why I'm doing it, why I did it, and I will be going again. But the last trip, it did take its toll on me, because I went to Kiev and the sirens were going off and people were still carrying on. But then I went with Nadia, who's Ukrainian, and her husband Paul. They said, we're going to these places to help clear areas that have been bombed out. So we removed rubble and stuff like that. And one particular place we went to, just a wall left of the house and a bathtub. And we tied ropes and stuff around, and the lads pulled and eventually pulled the wall down and we started clearing it. The lady whose house it was stood there. And I said to a young girl who I knew spoke English as well, did she lose anybody? And she said no, because they were in the vegetable garden. It was like a miracle. And I said, wow. And then I looked in the rubble, and there was a little man, looked like a little pixie. And I said, oh, what's this? And she said, it's called a domovoi. Now, the domovoi is a little mischievous character that gets all sorts of trouble, but he also protects people. And I sat him there and I thought, well, he should stay there. I think he's been protecting the place. There was also little pieces of broken pottery, and it had writing on, so I put it together. And when I did, it said words which my friend translated for me. It says, I wish your house to be fulfilled with health, happiness and kindness. So I wrote this. Hello, I'm a little domovoi. I'm a cheeky little man. I sometimes like to make mischief, cause havoc when I can. But other times I'm a good boy and will keep you safe from harm. I know you love my cheeky grin. It's all just part of your charm. But recently you needed me more than any other time, because bad men sent their missiles with no reasoning or rhyme. But I'd had a premonition that your home was under threat, and I'll always try and protect you, my family, and my mind was already set. So I put in your minds that outdoors you should be, tending to your vegetable patch out of harm's way, you see. Then when the missile landed, right in the centre of your house, no person or animal was injured or killed, not even a tiny mouse. So although I'm quite mischievous, I'll always be by your side. But my naughty side's decided that there's nowhere Putin can hide. For in the very near future, I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to send the lady who wrote this poem and give her a blinking gun. Because she was really upset when she saw the lady looking at her home. So me, the little domovoi, and this lady have decided we will roam. She's only a little like me, you see. Well, maybe she's a little taller. So I'm thinking of taking another name that I could possibly call her. An elf maybe, or a pixie with dust, a leprechaun perhaps, or a gnome if I must. But no, her name has a meaning. She watches from heaven above. She's your guardian angel, sent to give you all of her love. That's why she found the pieces that made up that special saying. It's not just a good luck charm, it's your very own way of praying. So between me, the little domovoi, the angel and God above, know that we are watching over you sincerely with all of our love. Now I wrote that, and it's quite light-hearted because there's a lot more that's going on that's very emotional.
Really beautiful.
Yeah, I've got goosebumps.
So,
wow.
You know, we've heard you talking about your journey, how you got there, and some of the people that you've met. Who else did you meet while you were out there who really impacted you? I saw something that you'd spoke about a gentleman called Jacob.
Yes, Jacob is a Polish gentleman that has been living over in Ukraine, in Kharkiv, which is the place I visited on the last trip, and he is a real hero. Jacob looks after soldiers, he feeds them, he finds places for them to sleep if there's no way of getting back because of curfew or whatever's going on. Jacob told me this story as I was there at the flat with him about a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. He was standing on the balcony of his flat with a young soldier, an English soldier. These are people that have gone out of their own free will. They've nothing to do with the government, but this young lad wanted to go and help. I think we joined the Legionnaires over there. And as they were talking in English, some guy came over and asked for a cigarette. So they gave him one, and Jacob stood back and left him speaking to this guy. Jacob somehow felt something was wrong, and he heard the guy say, "I'm just going to use my phone," and he started speaking in Russian. So Jacob speaks 5 languages. Jacob ran round and got hold of the guy, and a fight broke out. Jacob lost 2 teeth. The guy, he actually had his leg broken. The police were called, they grabbed the phone, they checked everything out, and he was a collaborator. The information on that phone, there were so many details on the phone about locations and things like that, and the guy was in the middle of saying, "This is the location, send the coordinates are here, this is the coordinates to send a missile to because there's soldiers here." Now, Jacob saved thousands of lives by explaining, to them what had happened and doing this. He's a hero. He definitely is a hero.
Listen, we're going to continue this story and a little bit more, delving more into Angie's time in the Ukraine after this short break here on Creatives on the Couch.